Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name's Jessica. This year I decided to focus on two separate palettes. One little mini palette, the Tarteist Pro To Go, I'm trying to finish up completely. And this big honker right here, the Lorac MegaPro2, I'm trying to hit pan on every single shade. So I'll go ahead and get started right on into this update. It's a very gloomy, middle of the week, May day. And I'm just trying to get an update film because it's just been a very busy time and I want to get it in where I can, whenever I can. So here we are. If I'm a little off today, that is why I'm all jumbled up from school brain and just trying to get in and out and update you on the progress of this palette, which there are a few exciting updates and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's get started. Start with my Tarteist Pro To Go palette. After this segment, I will have a montage of all of the months of progress of this palette up to this point. So here's what this palette was looking like last month. I had pan in 5 out of the 6 shades, and I had a few goals for myself. I was hoping to reach for the quad on the left side, drive, style, and hype, and crisp at least 20 times. And I wanted to reach for boss and dominate the shimmer shades on the right at least 9 times. And here's what my palette is looking like today. And hopefully you will notice that I do have pan on that last shade, Dominate. I hit pan on it this month and that feels really great. And I'll have to see the comparison videos, but hopefully you'll also see some expansion in these pans because they've been getting a ton of use. I'm gonna go through each of these shades one at a time, show you the comparison between last month and this month, tell you how many times I've used it, how many times I've used it total in this project, and any goals I have on that shade for the next month. So let's get into it. Starting off with that first shade, Drive. I've been using this as my first transition shade most days. Here's what it was looking like last month after 61 uses in this project. My goal is to reach for it 20 times. I actually reached for it 25 times, making for 86 uses total. And here's what it's looking like today. And I'm not sure, but how can there not be an expansion in this pan right now? This one is taking quite a bit longer than I thought it would, however. I still have a lot of product around the sides. It's quite deep in there. These pans are definitely a lot bigger and contain more product than my last pan that palette, my ABH Modern Renaissance palette. So I'm seeing that difference in the amount of progress I'm able to make each month, even with the same amount of uses. These are also a little bit more firmly pressed than the ABH shades. All the same, I'm confident this will be a shade that I can finish up, and hopefully I will have a much bigger pan to share with you on it next time. The next shade is Stylin', and I've been using this shade primarily in my brows, but I also reach for it sometimes mixed with other shades as a bronzer. So here's what it was looking like last month. This was after 77 uses in this project. I actually reached for it 35 times in the past month, which is very impressive. I'm happy with that, making for 112 uses total in this project, and here's what it's looking like today. And again, that pan is slightly larger, but not too significant. It's just taking some time. I mean, I'm obviously not using a ton of product when I reach for it in my brows, so I'm gonna have to amp up my use on that one soon, reach for it as a bronzer more often. But for now, I'm at least happy we have the progress we do, and I'll try and be more creative with it in the next few months and see if we can get it going a little bit quicker. Last shade on the top is Boss, this metallic bronze shade. Here's what it was looking like after 15 uses in this project. I reached for it 9 times in the past month, so I exactly met my goal. I have now used it 24 times, and here's what it's looking like today. I think the pan will be slightly bigger, but not by much. I have reached for this as a bronzer mix-in once or twice, maybe 3 times. So the brush wasn't as pinpointed for those uses. I was using a fluffier brush, so I'm going to be picking up more product around the sides of that pan. But all the same, I'm getting use on it, and I'm hoping to wear it down a little bit quicker. It definitely does look a little bit lower than Dominate next to it, and I think that's because I have been using it on my face every so often. It's a little bit finicky on my face, but I've been making it work, and that's gonna be a really important way for me to get good, satisfying progress on this shade. Otherwise, I don't know how much we'll really see throughout this year. So I'm gonna continue to do that and hopefully have even a bigger pan for you next update. I mean, that's always the goal, right? I don't even know why I have to say that, but I'm saying it. Moving down to the second row is Hype, this very pretty shimmery gold shade. Very easy to wear. Love this shade. It's been my favorite to reach for in this palette, I think. Here's what it was looking like last month after 48 uses in this project. We had a pretty good sized pan on there. I was able to reach for it 25 times in the past month, making for 73 uses total in this project, and here's what it's looking like today. And I definitely think you'll see a bigger size pan in there. I'm quite satisfied with the size of that pan. I mean, of course I want it to be bigger, but it's getting to be quite low, especially even around the sides. You can see that we are wearing down a lot of the product, not just in the center, but also down vertically as well. I've been using this as a face highlight on a almost daily basis. I either use it mixed with another highlight or I use it on its own, and it's beautiful on the face. I also love it on the eye. All over the lid is great. I use it as an inner corner highlight here and there, and also on the lower lash line in the inner part of the eye. Looks really pretty there as well. Love some sparkle, love using it. I'm really hopeful that one will be empty soon. If not by next month, hopefully in 2 months from now. That would be amazing. I'm really wishing I had an empty going on this palette at this point in the year. However, like I said, there's just more product in here. It's more firmly packed. It's more pigmented. I don't know if it's more pigmented, but it's just not going as quickly as my last pan that palette. I was a little spoiled with ABH. I don't know why I did that to myself. I should be grateful for all the progress I am making. It's a very bad habit of mine to focus on the negative. I'm working on that. So bigger pan. Go me. It's going to be empty soon. I know it. Next is this kind of medium orangey brown shade. This is the shade Crisp. Here's what Crisp was looking like last month after 43 uses in this project. I reached for it 17 times in the past month, so just a couple shy of my 20 use goal, which I'm a little disappointed with. I could have gotten those 3 more uses, but now it has 60 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And hopefully you'll see that the pan's a little bit bigger. This is one that I'm also mixing in with other shades to create that bronzer, Crisp, Stylin', Drive, and then sometimes Boss. I'm just mixing it all together, throwing it on my face, and it works out most of the time. It can look a little crazy if I'm not careful, but I can doctor it well enough for me to be presentable to the world. I'm pretty good at that. And I would love to finish this one up as well. Again, I'm gonna have to amp up my usage if I'm gonna get it done, but I'm up for the challenge as always. Let's go to this last shade, Dominate. Here's what Dominate was looking like last month. This was after 20 uses in this project. I reached for it 6 times in the past month. So again, a couple uses short of my goal of 9 uses, but all the same, 6 uses is not too bad. And those 6 uses got me a pan. So here's what it's looking like today. And not only is it a pan, it's not a bad size pan. It's not the smallest pan you've ever seen. And I'm hopeful that this is gonna be like kind of my turning point in this palette. I now have pan on every shade in this palette, and now I can start focusing on trying to get them empty. And to have an empty palette for you by the end of the year would feel oh so amazing. I'm getting a little nervous that might not happen, but it's only May and we have a lot of the year ahead of us. So wish me luck on that one. I have been taking weights on this palette. When I first rolled it in, it was weighing 61.08 grams. Last month, it was weighing 59.72 grams. And this month, it's weighing 59.15 grams. So I've used 0.57 grams of product, and that's on par with what I've used in the past several months. So that feels great. And if I can just get it a little bit higher next month, that would feel even better. I'm gonna switch up my goals just a little bit this month. I'm gonna try and reach for a Drive 25 times and really push myself to get a nice big pan for you next month. Stylin', I'm going to have a 30 use goal on. This is in my brows almost every day, so that should not be hard to do. Boss, I'm going to put a 9 use goal on again. Hype is going to have a 30 use goal. I think I can do that. I'm counting it for my face and my eye, both as separate uses, so that should be possible. For Crisp, I'm going to set a 20 use goal, challenge myself to reach for it a few more times for my face, and hopefully have more progress on you for that. And for Dominate, I'm gonna set a 10 use goal. I'm gonna try and just amp it up a little bit, and hopefully that will just keep me motivated on this one and remind me to reach for it because it can get forgotten about a little bit. So that is my first palette, and let's move on to that second focus palette of the year, this big baby, the Lorac MegaPro2. Here's what this palette was looking like last month. At that point, I had pan on 19 of the 32 shades. My goals were to use purple 10 times, Cabernet 10 times, soft plum 10 times, dark sienna 5 times, lavender 20 times, and chiffon 20 times. I didn't meet a lot of those goals, but I do have 2 new pans to share with you. Here's what this palette is looking like today. And with all these shades to look at, it might be hard to tell, but I do have 2 new pans. Again, this month, I have a pan on purple, and I also have a new pan on Cabernet. I'm really happy with 2 new pans. That keeps me on track to hit pan on all these shades by the end of the year. I now have just 11 remaining shades to hit pan on, but I'm not nearly as close on them as I was in other shades, so they're again going to be a little bit more effort to reach pan on those shades. I had a few focus shades on this palette as well. I was focusing on Soft Plum to reach for that 10 times. Here's what Soft Plum was looking like last month. I only reached for it 5 times this month, but at least I got 5 and not 0. Here's what it's looking like today, and I think you'll see that it does have a little bit more of a dip in there, and I think we're starting to get pretty close to pan on this shade. I'm going to be focusing on this shade again in the next month. It's still spring. I love these pastels for this time. I actually have this on my eyes today, and it was a really super easy one and done eyeshadow look. I just put on my eyeshadow primer, put Soft Plum all over my lid with my fingertips, kind of blended it with my finger even, and then I just put that first transition shade Drive from the Tarteist Pro To Go palette into my crease just to blend it out, and it worked out really well. I'm going to continue to wear it that way when I feel like it, when I want something fast, and hopefully that will get me to pan by next month. That is going to be my goal, to have pan on Soft Plum for you by the next update. I was also focusing on purple, and it paid off. I got that little pan on there. Here's what it was looking like last month. We had quite a good dip forming on it. I was hoping to use it 10 times, only reached for it 7, but that was enough. Once I hit pan on it, I gave up on it. I moved on to other things and was happy to add that to my list. I was also focusing on Cabernet. Again, it got me a pan. Here's what it was looking like. It had a nice little dip. It only took me 5 more uses to hit pan on that one, so didn't have to reach my 10 use goal. Only had to reach for a 5. I was also focusing on Dark Sienna. This one I'm really trying to start making a dent in. It's got a long way to go on it. Here's what it was looking like last month. My goal is to reach for it 5 times. I only reached for it 4, and mostly as a liner, so not a lot of progress to share. Here's what it's looking like today. I don't know how much of a difference you'll really be able to see, maybe a slight disturbance, but again, that one needs some more attention, definitely. I was focusing on lavender as well. This one was a huge fail. Here's what it looked like last month. I was hoping to reach for it 20 times and have a nice significant difference to show you. However, I only reached for it 4. My bad. And I don't think you'll be able to see much of a difference at all this month. Here's what it's looking like. It's very firmly pressed. It's very hard to get product onto a brush. So it's just gonna be another one that's gonna take a lot of time. I'm really gonna have to amp up my use on that one and just force myself to use it so I can eventually share a pan with you. Definitely not my favorite shade. And the last focus shade is this shade here, Chiffon. And this is a very pale satin pink color. And I've been trying to wear this as an inner corner highlight, but it really doesn't give the payoff that I would like to have on my inner corner. So I didn't reach for it as much as I thought I would. I also plan to use it as a face highlight, but with all the other things I'm trying to use, like an actual highlighter and hype from the Tarteist Pro To Go palette, this one fell by the wayside, and it'd be a very, very subtle highlight, which is nice sometimes, but it's not always what I want, especially now that we're in these sunny springtime days. Today not included. It's been gloomy and stormy all day, and here we are in May. It's just a little unusual, but I'm not complaining. I love rainy weather. It's so moody, like me. Anyways, I hope to reach for Chiffon 20 times. I only reached for it 18, but hey, that's not too bad. 18 is nothing to be disappointed about, and I'm hoping that you'll still see a difference in this pan, at least a slight difference in the dip. This one will come eventually. I'm not worried about hitting pan on this one. It's gonna happen. It just might take us a little bit of time, but we have time. We have time on our side. We have 7 more months to go in this project and only 11 more pans to hit. That bodes well. I feel like this is a very promising prospect. I just have to stay focused and continue to kind of move my attention around this palette so that it's getting equal love on all of those shades that really need it. Goals for the next month are going to try and hit pan on Soft Plum. I want to reach for Dark Sienna at least 10 times. I'm going to up my use on that one a little bit. And let's choose one more to focus on that needs some attention. I'm going to continue to focus on lavender and chiffon, just keep you updated on those ones. Let's say 15 uses on lavender and 15 uses on chiffon. That should be plenty. And one more that needs some love, just to remind me, let's go with olivine, because I think that's one I can hit pan on. No, olivine will be better for the fall. And I feel like I'm just going to reach for that one naturally. So I'm going to switch it up to, okay, something crazy. I'm going to try and use gunmetal, which is like a really deep, steely gray shimmer, kind of like a satin. That's really pretty. Not the best for springtime, but I'm just gonna have to get the uses in on this where I can. So I'm gonna set a 5-use goal on gunmetal. That will be a challenge for me, but that's what these goals are all about, is to force me to reach for things that I normally wouldn't and force me to get closer to pan on them, because that's how we're gonna reach these goals. I did try and get a weight on this one, but it's really, really difficult. I'm not gonna give too much bearing to the weights on this one. It's just so large, it's hard to get a good measurement on. But just for kicks, I'll let you know that when I first brought this in, it was weighing 264.7 grams. Last month, it was weighing 263.08, and this month it's weighing 263.28. So it went up 0.2 grams. I don't know how that happened, but there you have it. Take it with a grain of salt. I'll continue to measure these weights. Eventually, hopefully, I'll get one that is on the downward trend, right? I feel like we're going against the laws of nature here. Matter cannot be created or destroyed, okay? For me today. I really hope you enjoyed my update. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and let the YouTube algorithm know that you liked it. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here as part of my little YouTube community, and leave a comment. Say hello. Let me know how you're doing. What do you think about my progress? Give me some motivation, some encouragement. Sometimes it helps out. I really do appreciate it. I hope you're doing really well, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye, everybody. I have eyeshadow all over my hands. Bye.